On January 19th, TikTok is getting banned and the platform is going dark. This is what marketers need to know. We have a 4-step guide to make sure that you, as a marketer, come out not just with your head above water, but ahead of others in this landscape. Let's dive straight into what you need to be doing. Keeping up with marketing trends and leveling up your career doesn't have to be overwhelming. So don't go at it alone. Welcome to the Marketing by Design podcast powered by AMA Columbus. Join host Andy Milligan every Tuesday as you and I dive into the info that you need to know as a marketer. Whether your goal is to land a job, grow that network, make more money, or level up your career in marketing, you are in the right place. Come for the actionable info, stay for the pressing conversations with industry marketing leaders, and walk away the best equipped marketer ready to dominate your niche. I'm so excited to talk to you today. Let's go. But what we know as of now is as of January 19th, TikTok will be officially banned in the US, and there's a lot of litigation behind everything. It will be removed from the app store, so there will be no new downloads. It won't go completely dark until, my guesses are, until sometime around the end of February, so it'll be kind of a slow drip. You'll probably start to see some performance issues, lags, bad interactions. Some of the videos won't load properly, and it will just slowly go dark over time. And it's going to be very interesting to see what that looks like. But as a marketer, this is what you should know and do right away. So we have 4 steps that you should take ASAP, whether hopefully sometime this week before the platform goes dark. Number 1, and this is obvious, you need to pause or stop any paid spending on TikTok ad campaigns. So if you're doing any paid media, if you're doing any kind of a TikTok shop, reallocate those funds to more stable short form platforms. If you've seen good performance on YouTube Shorts, if you've seen good performance on TikTok, you can reallocate those more towards other short form platforms because the conversion is going to be a lot closer 1-to-1. So things like YouTube Shorts, which we'll talk about definitely a little bit moving forwards, or Instagram as well would be the highest conversion rate. By the way, if you're a marketing leader or a business owner and you want to start your reading habit, the Essential Marketer's Reading Checklist, the best books on business and marketing that you can browse through, test drive, see if you like, included difficulties, page summaries, actionable quotes, and a link to the cheapest place online if you want to buy it and read the whole thing for yourself. Literally a place to test drive a library of all the most helpful books on business without having to buy it beforehand and give you a chance if you want to see if you like it. First link in the description. Step 2, after you've paused all your paid spend, is to download your TikTok data. So go to settings, account, download your data, and you want to save each of your highest performing videos or all of them if you can. This is going to be a slightly tedious process, but it goes a really long way, and you want to make sure you're not losing all of the content that you've worked so hard because short form is not going anywhere in terms of trends. So you want to make sure you have that. And also, if you want to do some manual recording, it would be really best practice to make sure you have some data around what performed best because that's insight and that's data that you don't want to lose. So we have a tool called Snaptic, which I will link down below. It's just some simple URL. You can put it into your browser. It'll be linked in the show notes. But it's Snaptic, Snaptik. Just drop in the URL link to your TikTok post and let you download it without a watermark. I recommend having maybe a Google Drive file where you just kind of name the video, drop it in there, and you can save it for future reference. That was step 2. After you download your TikTok data, you want to move on to step 3, which is going to be repurposing. And this is what you're going to be seeing a lot of content about moving forwards. Is, okay, how do we leverage this existing content that has performed so well from a marketing standpoint on TikTok and reallocate it and really get the most drip out of it that we can? So the 3 recommended platforms that I'm going to recommend you start on to get the most drip out of your short form content is going to be obviously Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and Pinterest idea pins. You can kind of adapt the content formats fit the requirement. Things like video length, things like aspect ratio, even some of the hooks and the video duration. You're going to make sure you tweak and play with. Obviously with short form, a lot of these things are going to remain very similar. So it's not going to be a ton of rework. But I would recommend, especially in things like the caption and copy, that you tailor a little bit more to the platform. So don't just copy paste. So after you've repurposed and you've done your best practice to do so, number 4 is going to be posting a farewell note. If your marketing team or your audience has a huge following on TikTok, you're going to want to do everything you possibly can to make sure you're migrating off platform. You want to share your links to your previous posts while you still can. Your last several farewell posts should be outbound links to where people can find you on other platforms. Add links in the descriptions of the posts. I know that doesn't do well for quality, but you also want to post on other platforms too. So ideally, you would transfer them over to a more warm audience. So think of a place like LinkedIn, or better yet, email. That's the whole process with converting on social media nowadays, is you're trying to get warm traffic to an email list. And this is an opportunity to capitalize on that, and you're going to come out of this ahead of other marketers. So really make sure that other people, that your people in your audience know how to find you, and you're giving them a link or some kind of a call to action to find you elsewhere. So now we're going to go a little bit. So that is the 4-step playbook for coming out of this ahead. Now we're going to talk a little bit about TikTok alternatives. So I have 3 of them that I'm going to mention that may be a little bit that I've tested that probably aren't the best recommendations. And we have more safer, longer term alternatives. So RedNote is one that is Chinese, and Lemon8 is another one. So RedNote is more of an e-commerce niche content strategy. It's more for e-commerce, lifestyle, and travel. And Lemon8 is more of a curated lifestyle type of trend, but they all focus on a more short form video feed that you can scroll through. I don't see these getting as much traction. Obviously, they're probably going to get an uptick just because of the hype around them and some of the content that's being made about repurposing TikTok content nowadays. But your best bets are going to be on these 3 that we already mentioned: YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and Snapchat/Pinterest. And I kind of lump those into one because those aren't going to be as effective. Personally, what we're seeing here at MMG Design with our clients is that YouTube Shorts is the highest conversion and engagement mechanism for most businesses. So that's where people are. YouTube in itself is a search engine. So if you can create a strategy on YouTube where you have a cadence of 1 long form video per week, and then you're using the short form video, depending on how targeted your content has been in the past, if you found a strategy that you're able to create a short form video strategy that was on TikTok and have a 1-to-1 sort of message conversion target audience that could lead to more long form content, that could ideally create a really good funnel for warming up kind of the cold traffic from short form content, which is naturally very, top of funnel. You're going to reach a more of a viral audience, but you could warm them up by having it on the same platform where your long form content is as well. So depending on your industry, depending on your strategy, that could be a really good thing to leverage. So we're going to wrap up with we're going to wrap up super quickly with how you can rethink your own social strategy and what the biggest takeaways are from this whole debacle. Like I said, we're not going to get into the politics of it, but these are the 5 biggest lessons that you can take away from this whole scenario to come out ahead. Number 1 is going to be that you need to diversify your platform. So this, if and nothing else, has showed us the importance of building on different mediums. I would personally say that TikTok is the coldest audience because it's very hard to get targeted on TikTok unless you're doing paid. So it's also showed us a lot of what social media is going to be in the future nowadays. I know especially when at the start of COVID, when a lot of people started doing a lot more consumption, it showed us that the shorter form videos are very, very effective for engagement and creating marketing strategy, and because that's where the audience is going to be in the future. So look for other platforms to integrate more of the short form video into into pushing that more towards their user base. Number 2 is to invest in owned media. So obviously we touched on email a little bit, but finding ways to convert that TikTok audience into something that's a lot more owned, a lot more stable, something where if something like this happens again on another platform, like I said, you never know what can happen. So focusing on email marketing, getting people to your website, and creating a social strategy where you're interacting with your customers more intimately and you can control what that interaction looks like, and you're not you're not constrained to platform limitations that are outside of your control. The next one is how to leverage AI. So use AI tools to leverage data and personalize campaigns a lot more than you could on a short form platform like TikTok. So a big lesson out of this too is to make sure that, because there's been so many tools nowadays that can really automate the process of creating video. Our episode last week was all about 5 tools that can help you make more as a marketer and content creator in 2025. So definitely check that out if you have not already. But tools like these can help you get ahead, especially when you have to pivot very quickly in our age of marketing. The next lesson is to prioritize user-generated content. So that was a big takeaway from the TikTok area, was that when other people speak on behalf of your brand or your campaign or your company, it goes such a long way. So repurpose that to other platforms, especially Instagram. That's where a lot of user-generated content is nowadays. Build an army of following, get people to talk about your stuff, and do it on video, because video is the most effective, and that's a big takeaway from this whole debacle. And the last biggest takeaway is to kind of shift your focus into longer form content. Like I said, I am super bullish on this idea that if you can come out of this with a YouTube short strategy that warms your audience into your longer form content as a marketer, I think you're going to come out of this thing way more prepared than everybody else. Because even though the short form is where the visibility is, it's the top of funnel, creating that conversion to a warmer audience is something that just can't be matched. And I think the people that can leverage the existing short form that they've built on TikTok and find some kind of an effective mechanism for transmitting that traffic into a long form video, YouTube is, I know, like we said, anything can happen, but YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, and it's, as far as stable platforms go, it's probably the most. So really, really try and explore more of like longer form content with YouTube videos and working on the conversion strategy from short form to long form. So in closing, guys, like the TikTok ban is just something that I don't think a lot of us saw coming. And it proves that, like, especially in the digital landscape and marketing, you have to be able to adapt and change. And I think this is a good lesson to just take stock of like what our existing practices are. I saw a post the other day that said, like, because this is how we have done things in the past is never the right answer. And especially in marketing, being nimble, being agile, being adapted to the trends, it's going to make you more hireable. It's going to make you more money. And it's all about being flexible, creative, adapting to things as they come. But this is the 4-step playbook to coming out of the TikTok ban ahead. Like I said, make sure you follow those 4 right off the bat, while you still have the time, and implement some of these longer form video strategies into your content moving forwards. This has been Marketing by Design by AMA Columbus. I am your host, Andy Milligan. If you got value out of this episode, make sure you check out the links in the description. Last week, I was talking to our AMA president, Mr. Chris Alexis. We've since started working together. He's been a great referral source for my business, and just collaborating and learning from all the other members that, I've met in the AMA has leveled up my career. I've learned so much just from the experienced marketers in that community, and it's just a great place to be. And I'm getting a ton of value out of just learning from others, asking questions, talking about things like pricing, career, content, interactions, different niches of marketing that I can build a referral network around. You guys can check out our AMA Columbus business directory and get your business listed for free and create a very strong backlink to a very powerful AMA organization. Without further ado, I am your host, Andy Milligan. This has been Marketing by Design, entry number 76, and we'll see you guys next week.